guys, what is up? Welcome to another episode of Maximilian Must Know. We're going to do today what we did the last couple weeks, where I'm going to go through, hey, these are the fragrances I wore this week and sort of talk you through each one. But next week I'm going to do something a little bit different, something that I've never done before. It's going to be a sort of series on why everyone should be able to smell good regardless of their budget. And we're going to walk through a few different genres over the next few weeks and different price points for fragrances in those genres, and why if you want to spend $300 on a fragrance, cool, but if you want to spend $20, $30, you can do that too in any genre and smell good. It's why anyone should be able to smell good. We're going to start that off next week with a barbershop series. But for this week, let me just go over with what I wore for you guys. I didn't wear them for you. I wore them for me. But let's go over what I wore this week. So Saturday, I went with this guy, and this is Ombre Eccentrico from the Armani Privé line. This is a really underrated fragrance I just don't hear people talking about. Yeah, it's an amber fragrance, but it's so much more than that. It's one of those fragrances where, like, if you like Amber Narguilé by Hermes, the Hermescence line, I think you'll like this. This is like got dried fruits, there's cinnamon, there's plum, there's tonka. It doesn't have that tobacco vibe. It's certainly not an apple pie fragrance, but it's really a nice like cinnamon, dried fruit, amber fragrance with tonka. It's sweet. It's different from other things I've smelled. It's got Armani Privé fragrances. Let's be honest, they're a lot of them are good. Like, some people think they have the best incense fragrance going at all, and there's just some gems in that lineup. Their rose oud fragrances are good. Orange Ombre is a good one. So this is another good one. I think, don't sleep on this one. I was lucky enough to get a tester with a cap. And so that's what I wore. Not this Saturday. I wore this last Saturday. And I really enjoyed it. Sunday, I wore one of my absolute favorite fragrances. And we're going to talk about this one next week. We talk about barbershop fragrances that everyone can afford. And this, all things considered, like, when you take price into consideration, and yes, I got this when it was available in this bottle, and I didn't pay more than $40. And when you take that into account, yeah, this might be the best barbershop fragrance for pound, money wise. This is the original Rive Gauche in the tin container, aluminum container, and it's just, man, there's something that Starney and Rosemary does to this one. The rosemary, the lavender, it really does just smell like warm shaving foam. It's different than other barbershop fragrances. It's very different than stuff like Ovation Barbar and Bois de Portugal. Certainly sartorial. I think the fragrance to me that comes closest to this, if I'm being honest, is Azara Pour Homme, which is another great one, but this is a little better. And I think it's really that rosemary that just gives it this like this green, like I don't want to say herbal, I don't want to say fresh. It's like this green, almost like savory element to it that just lifts the entire composition. It's such a banger. I haven't tried it. I don't think. I might have in the new bottle, so I don't want to tell you it's the same thing. But man, if it is, then you have to get this if you like these kind of fragrances. So that was my Saturday pickup, my Sunday wear of last week, and what a great day that was, just because I was wearing this fragrance. Monday was same size, probably the same exact bottle, but a different fragrance. This is Steel Sugar by Aquilina. And this is one that just never gets talked about. Blue Sugar definitely gets its love from guys who talked about it. I think Mark Rose was a big fan of it. The Choco, I forget what the name of it is, but there's a chocolate one that smells like fresh chocolate chip cookies. People like that one, Choco Loco or Choco some bullshit. Something that sounds like a Starbucks drink that, soccer moms order. And then there's Pink Sugar, right, which gets a ton of love. It's sort of a burnt sugar fragrance. This is totally different. This one is actually made for men. and like blue sugar was. But this is the notes in this are just there's gingerbread in this, there's lavender, there's apple, there's bergamot, there's tobacco. It's got a little bit of barbershop fragrance to it, with like a little bit of 90s freshy with a little touch of a gourmand thing going on because of the gingerbread and the apple. So it was, it's really good. It's really fresh. It's really nice. It's an Aquilina kind of does their thing. You know, Gold Sugar's really good too. That's a unisex one. That's sort of like a coconut fragrance. But I checked online. This is like $20. This is a steal. So I'm going to recommend people pick this up and let me know what you think. If you trust me, I think you'll like this one. I think you'll find it punches over its price point, and it's like a $20 fragrance, and it's really a pretty unique. So that's Steel Sugar. That's what I wore Monday, first day of work for the week. Tuesday, I wore this one. This is from the house of Nejma 7. And I told Nejma a long time ago I wanted to do a scent safari video. They were like, cool. They sent me a bunch of samples, and they sent me one bottle. And, you know, I didn't ask them for it. They didn't ask me which one I wanted. They sent me like a bunch of the numbered samples, and then they sent me a full bottle of Nejma 7. And thank God, because Nejma 7 is my favorite out of the series. And just a really nice gourmand oud fragrance. You've got coconut, cacao in it. You've got oud in it. There's a dominant patchouli note in the base. So it's really just this sort of this gourmand oud with really a very prominent coconut note. Now I'm going to tell you the truth. It smells very synthetic. There's nothing in this to me that smells natural, but that's okay. You know, synthetic is not bad. I just find like this is a very enjoyable fragrance. I don't know if I'd pay retail for this fragrance, but I certainly enjoy wearing it, you know, and I think other people would wear it as well if they got their nose on. It's a really nice gourmand oud fragrance. It's called Nejma 7. And that was my Tuesday fragrance. Now, Wednesday, I put the sample back. Wednesday's sort of the day I go through samples, and this week was another one from Chanel exclusive. Last week it was 28 La Pausa, which is their iris fragrance. This week it was 31 Rue Cambon. You know, that's a good fragrance. There's iris in that. There's lang-a-lang. There's a lot of green notes. There's florals. There's labdanum. So the thing with that fragrance is it's meant to smell like a classic chypre, but without oak moss. So that was kind of like the trick. We're going to do a chypre, but we're not going to use oak moss. I found it to be very enjoyable. If you read what Luca Turin thinks of it, he gave it 5 stars. He said it was, you know, one of the most brilliant fragrances ever, but his criticism was sort of my criticism, and it just didn't last on my skin at all. I mean, it was fleeting, to say the least. And so if I think it's a little too, to me, it's like a little too floral. I'm not the biggest fan of florals, so like I think for Chanel, that's one that's a little too floral for me. But if I was a woman and that lasted a little bit longer, that would definitely be a fragrance I would need a bottle of. It's really good. 31 Rue Cambon. Now the fragrance I'm going to test next week, I don't know if I'm going to do a video telling you all my fragrances, so I'll just tell you now. I'm trying to go through a lot of Chanel fragrances, and one that, you know, has gotten some praise is Allure Sensuelle. That's a woman's flanker of Allure. But people really like it, so I'm going to just I'm not going to necessarily wear it. Like what I do with a fragrance like that is I spray it on a tester, and if I say, you know, this may be a little too feminine for me or too floral or whatever, then I don't wear it. I just sort of, what's the word for it? I forget, not examine it, evaluate it basically, and just sort of see what I think of it. So that's the one I'm going to evaluate next week though. So 2 more fragrances from this week. Thursday, I wore this guy, and man, this is such an underrated fragrance from Hermes. You know, when people talk about Hermes, and specifically the cologne line, I feel like it's always orange vert, really orange vert. Like that's sometimes people, you know, talk about pamplemousse rose, the pink grapefruit fragrance, but I feel like this one gets no shine whatsoever. And for me, it's not even close. This is the best one. Now I'm going to tell you, I like the Neroli one. That I think Christine Nagel, I believe that was her first 2, were the Neroli one and the rhubarb one, but I might be wrong on that. I feel like she did a blue one after that, and maybe Jean-Claude Elena did the neroli one, and she did the rhubarb one. But I'll tell you, the rhubarb one and the neroli one are good fragrances. But man, guys, Oud Ombre and Ombre is so fucking good. Look at how much of that fragrance that I've worn. Like, it is such a banger. First of all, for an eau de cologne, and I actually think it may be EDT concentration. No, it's eau de cologne concentration. For an eau de cologne from Hermes, a citrus eau de cologne at that, mind you. This this was 10 hours on my skin, dead ass. I was smelling this one like late into the day. And it gets compared on Fragrantica to Orange Sanguine, which I think is such bullshit. Like, Orange Sanguine, let's be honest, is straight up orange juice. Fine, all good. That's a good fragrance. I have that on my to buy list. But that's just straight up orange juice. If you know, like, the difference between, like, oranges, like straight up Florida oranges and mandarins, then you know there's a big difference in scent. Oranges have, like, a very fresh, bright, like, juicy smell, and mandarins are almost like more, they're more substantial. They have more texture to them. They're sweeter. They're more gourmand. Like, the way I can sort of put it, honestly, this kind of, to me, people aren't going to like this, but this, to me, the same way that, like, Allure Edition Blanche has that lemon cream pie thing going, this sort of has, like, a mandarin cream pie thing going for me. And I just think it's a really special fragrance. This is always one in my collection. It performs well. The passion fruit gives it like almost a tropical vibe going on. It's just a ridiculously good cologne. And I've never smelled anything like it. So I love that one. You should check it out. Finally, Friday, which was a couple days ago or yesterday, it's Saturday, so yesterday when I'm filming this, I wore this one from Dua. This is 10 Shades of Gaia. And so let me tell you why I bought this one, why I have this one from Dua. So I really like the Le Labo City exclusive packs. I do. I think there's some good ones in it. I only ever owned one. I bought Poivre 23. And I realized I didn't like it as much as I thought, and I just wanted to get some quick bread to get a new iPad, so I sold a few, like 4 or 5 fragrances to subscribers just so I get the iPad, and I knew I didn't go through much of it, so I know I'd get good money back on that one. So I sold that. One of the few fragrances, I think that's the only time in my life I've ever sold fragrances, by the way. Like, if I feel like I'm defending myself against Matt Welty on Complex Sneaker Show, but so that's really is the only time I sold fragrances, and I just didn't. I could never justify that price point, and I think that's sort of my thing with the city exclusives from Le Labo. Like, some of them are good, right? Like, a lot of them are good. But they're all, I feel like, really soft, and I just feel like they're just not worth $400, right? Like, they're just that's a lot of money for a soft fragrance that's really, I don't think, that different in quality than the other Le Labos. It's just their city gimmick. So I say that to say this. So I really like Gaiac 10, but I was not going to pay $400 for Gaiac 10. So I checked out the Dua version, and I was like, yo, this is very close to Gaiac 10. There's 10 ingredients, so you kind of have to fuck up to not get this close. And in my materials collection, to make perfumes, I have a big glob of Robertet Gaiac resin. I think it's Gaiac resin. I don't know what it is. I could show it to you guys if you want in a video. But it's just straight Gaiac. It's this, like, waxy. It almost looks like THC wax, honestly. It's goopy. It's, like, very sticky. And not that I know anything about THC wax, by the way. I've heard it. It looks like THC wax. But it is legal in New York now anyway. This smells exactly like that goop. Like, it smells exactly like it. Like, almost 1-to-1. If you've never smelled what real Gaiac smells like, it's like a quarter smell of bacon. Like, it's not bacon, but it's kind of like bacon. It's got this smoky, savory smell to it, and what Le Labo did, and what what Dua did by extension, is they added a few notes to it. They added some musk, They added a little bit of cedar. They added some labdanum to make it like a little bit more fleshed out. So you have this smoky, savory Gaia note that kind of smells bacony, smoky. Then you have a little bit of soft musk. You've got a little bit of some like very like sterile cedar. And then you have like just, you know, a labdanum incense basically to just round the whole thing out. And it's just a very cozy scent. Like to me, this is a perfect scent for a cashmere sweater. Like if you have a cashmere sweater on, this is perfect. This is very elegant. This is kind of like having on like a Dior t-shirt with no label on it. You know what I'm saying? Like a Brioni button-down white shirt or a Laura Piana overcoat. Like no names, nothing splashed on it. It's just like, if you know, you know. Like that's kind of this fragrance. It's just pillowy, soft, Gaia, smoky fragrance. And if you like stuff by like Eccentric Molecules and you like these fragrances that are like second skin scents that are soft and kind of pillowy and envelop you, then I think you'll like this. I just don't think you should pay $400 for Gaia 10. I think you should probably just look at 10 Shades of Gaia. But by all means, try both. And if you feel like it's worth that dough, you know, then it's worth it to you. It's definitely not worth it to me. So that's what I wore this week, guys. I'm going to be back next week, and we're going to have some fun with why everyone should be able to afford to smell good. And we're going to go through some different barbershop fragrances at different price points and talk through their differences and see if a $300 barbershop scent is really better than a $20 barbershop scent. And if there's anything else that you want me to do, videos that you'd like to see, drop a comment. And of course, I'll do my best to accommodate. Guys, again, I want to thank you for fucking with me and sticking around. I do appreciate it. Get vaccinated if you can, if it's safe, if you want to, if you're able to. Let's get this herd immunity thing going. And I'll see you guys again real soon with more videos. My name is Oud Ombre.
Make it through the storm, 'cause you'll be right there. Before I was born, you was right there. Even after I'm gone, you'll be right there. And whenever it's on.